.NET 6 is here and C# 10 is here, and I'm going to break down some of my favorite features, so tune in. Hey everyone, I'm James and I'm back talking about my favorite C# 10 features. I love every single version of C#. It just gets better and better and better. And C# 10 is an amazing release that really helps simplify code and shrink code too, both horizontally and vertically too. I'm really excited about it. And there's some amazing sessions, documentation and blogs on it, but I want to break down my favorite features and how to turn on C# 10 if you're still targeting older versions of .NET. So let's go and break it down. All right, so I'm actually using Dustin Campbell and Mads Torgeson's sample here because it's a really good sample that they've been building on. I'll put a link to their .NET Conf session, but I'm just gonna break down some of my favorite features here. This is a simple application that they've been sort of updating throughout the years of C# to, I don't know, update things and break it down and show off new features of C#. So this is really cool because it actually uses the with expression here to make sort of a deep copy of the person. So there's a Scott Hunter, and then it makes a copy of this other person, Scott Hanselman, and then another copy of it here. And then it shows off the equality operators, which is cool. And that's really nice because it's using the new record type for person here. So I think that's really, really neat. Cool part here is if you are using records, they're already a class, but now in C# 10, you can just say that it's a class too. You can also make it a struct as well. So if you really want to make it a record struct, so if you're worried about a heap versus stack, where you want to put it, it's already there. And the nice part about this is that you actually get the equality operators, everything built right in too. So that's why these equals equals work automatically. So that's pretty cool. So if you are working with records, now you can make them a class, you can make them a struct, and it's up to you if you want to put them there or not, which is cool. Now, they also updated not only like records, but also structs in this one too. So if I actually just make this a struct, most of the things continue to work in this code. It's a simple, first name, last name here. But we'll also see that there's this person equals equals original person here that no longer works. And that's because the equality operator is no longer there on a struct. So you have to implement that. But they did make some other enhancements to other things such as anonymous types. So for example, if I just say this is a new person, that's going to continue to work now because the equality operator will work there. And we can see that the anonymous type is a new string, which is kind of cool too. So there's all sorts of kind of good stuff in there, which I think is really, really neat. So structs, record types, all that good stuff. Now, one thing that Dustin showed off, which was cool, is he said, let me just go ahead and put this into a new class. So move it to a person.cs file. So let's go and do that over there. And let's take a look at that. So go over to person.cs. Here it is. And let me go ahead and maybe put that into a namespace. So we'll call it models. There we go. Perfect. Now, what's cool about that is, Visual Studio 2022 just kind of did all the refactoring for me. But what it did is it brought in the namespaces automatically because it's doing this file write line. And then we just added a namespace. So two of my new favorite features, I gotta say, are file scoped namespaces. So this is the ability to take back that vertical or horizontal space on our code. So this is really neat because normally you're not using multiple, things, multiple namespaces in a single file. So normally you'd have something like this, which is person two, maybe this is like, pet or something like that. And you have these different structures inside of there. It's really rare to have multiple namespaces. So what they did is they said, well, what if this entire file, you could scope it to a specific namespace such as models? So you can. All you got to do is do a semicolon, and now you can just delete and take back your space. Amazing. So far we've kind of tackled that, and you can do that in any file, which is really, really nice, and that helps really simplify the code. Now, the other ones are about sort of shrinking that vertical space because here we have like using system.io. If I go over here, we have using static system.console over here. And it's kind of like, why do I need to do all these, using statics? And if I had a system.io and I had another file and another file, I'd have to copy and paste those usings all over the place. Some people like to see their usings, and that's totally cool. I would like to hide the usings. So what you can do is create a file inside of your project. So here, this file is just called usings, and this file doesn't do anything except for it has all the usings that are in this actual application. So I'm going to hold down Shift Alt and then just go down. That's going to do multi-caret selection. I'll say global, and these are global usings. So what I'm saying is, hey, use all of these usings in the entirety of the application. And now if I go back over into person, for example, we'll see that it's grayed out. I can go ahead and remove that namespace, which is pretty rad. If I go over back into my program, we'll see over here that there's a using static system console, and that's also grayed out because you can come in and do static usings or aliases or anything like that. Now let's say though that you wanted to have that person back in here. So let's do person again. And we wanted to bring in that namespace. So we can go ahead and bring that in right there, right? Using models. But again, what if we have a bunch of classes all over the place? Well, you can take that using, shove it right over here, and then put a global in front of it. Global. Boom. And now models will be brought in as well to the entire application. And there it goes. Now, of course, this equality operator is not going to work, so let's make it anonymous one more time. But check this out. Now our application starts on line 1. Our code inside of the person class, the namespace, is on line 1. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful thing, shrinking that down. But you're probably saying, well, James, like, what about all these system namespaces here? What's up with that? And why would I need to bring in all those? Well, the other feature of C#10, which is really cool and part of .NET, is sort of mashing the SDKs and global usings together in something called implicit usings. And this is a cool feature that every SDK and every framework, every library could specify a list of namespaces that are global because you'd probably want to use them everywhere, probably like all of these systems. So you can double tap on your CS proj and you can just come in and say implicit usings enable. So you can do enable, true, or disable, just like that. And now when I come back over to my usings, I can actually go ahead and delete all of the system ones there. So now, for example, if I needed to do, if I put in using system.io there, you would no longer need it, which is pretty cool. No need to have that there at all. In fact, it's just brought in automatically. It's automatically working there because that is brought in under the hood for us. They're probably saying, James, well, where are my global usings and implicit usings? Like, they must exist somewhere. Well, let's actually go and do show all files in Visual Studio. I'm going to go into OBJ, debug, net6, and notice that there's a global usings.g generated file. These are the auto-generated global usings for the specific project type. So anything inside of here enables you to basically use those global usings. In the documentation, there's all the documentation for what's new in C#10, but there's also this document on implicit global using directives new in C# projects. And you can actually scroll down a little bit and you can notice that here's Microsoft Net SDK, Web, Worker, WinForms, WPF, and there's more too, such as .NET MAUI and other ones. You can see if you go to Web, it's going to bring in all of these other ones automatically here for you. Same with Windows Forms, WPF, and others too, which I think is super rad. That's really, really cool. So you can take a look at all those. And you can turn them on, you can turn them off. Totally up to you. I simply love it. I think it's amazing and just regaining that space in your project. So for example, if I go to like a web application, this is a new file blank ASP.NET Core web app. I can do the same thing. If I actually double tap on web application, you'll see that in file new projects, both nullable and implicit usings are enabled. And again, if I go down here into the OBJ, debug, net6, global usings, you'll see here that all of these global usings are brought in for me automatically, which is really cool. What I love about this is that I always forget to bring in the dependency injection using statement, which means I always forget to use all the extension methods, but now they're there in every single file, which I think is absolutely lovely. Another one, quick, really cool one here is that this actual map get just takes in this delegate, which is kind of cool. So you can actually come in and you can make that like a var local, or I'll just say not local, but I'll say thing. There we go. And I can just make that a delegate there. And then I can just say thing. And this thing will automatically make it a func of string. As you can see over here, so it automatically knows that this is going to be a delegate T result. This is a new feature that can automatically, figure out your functions for you automatically if it can figure it out. We can take a look at a complex sample too back in this project that Mads and Dustin had. So if I go into this other stuff folder, here's a more advanced one, right? There's like a int parsing of strings. It's a func of string here. You always have to define this, but now you can just say var, which is cool. And you can see it figures it out automatically for you. And this can do it because it knows that it's going to take in a string and return an int. In other instances here where it's a func of a bool and an object, where it's like it doesn't know if it's going to return an integer or a string, you can still do var there too, but it won't be able to compile it because it can't infer the type. So what you can actually do is you can do this thing called an object before it. And that's going to tell the compiler and show the compiler that it's actually going to take in a bool, but then return an object automatically. So lots of really cool things in there. And again, check out the what's new in C#, other things such as extended property patterns, constant string, interpolated strings, which are really cool. I already talked about record structs, the improved lambdas, all sorts of different declarations and record types that you can seal, all sorts of little things there, which is really cool. Now, one of the other things you can do though is, let's say you needed to enable this in older projects. So here's my MVVM helpers project, and here's my old namespace. And if I go into like observable object, we have all this other stuff here. You can just go into your CS proj, and you can see I've already kind of overwritten this. This project is a net 6.1, net standard 1.0 and 2.0 project, so it can kind of be used everywhere. You can just say lang version 10, and they'll just enable it. Let's just flip it on. So lang version 10, you should be totally good to go. And now I should be able to actually just come in, and Visual Studio should give me this little, convert to file scoped namespaces. And I can just go ahead and do that. Look at that. I could also now come in and just flip on implicit usings, enable, there we go. And then come back over into my projects. And let's give it a little bit of time to kick in here. There we go, look at this. So it automatically is bringing some namespaces there, gone, rad. Same thing here, I can go in and convert those, amazing. Just automatically start removing this code automatically for me. And that's going to just compile up, no problem at all, because it's just compiler, right? Just that's all you need to really worry about. So you can go through your application now and then just, do that. And again, I'm going to now put in a new file over here. So I'm just going to do new class. I don't know, it doesn't really matter what it is. I like to call it global usings because that's literally what it is. So I'm going to say global usings, and you can put it anywhere technically. But I'll go ahead and just delete that stuff. We can see grouping, totally good now. I mean, this is just like, between these two features, it's definitely being my favorite features. But now I can just come in here. I can just now do global using. And now, look at this. That's exactly how I want my code to look. It's astonishing. I love it. I've regained so much space in my MVVM helpers class. It is spectacular. Check out the documentation for all of the C# 10 features. File, scoped, namespaces, my favorite. Global usings, implicit usings. I love the new func stuff. I love the new stuff happening in records and structs. So much little goodness in your application for C# 10 that you can add in there. So go check it out. I hope you like this video. If you do, obviously give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you want to, but also check out Mads and Dustin video. I'll put it right up over there at this point in the video, and I'll put it in the show notes as well below. It's a great breakdown. It's cool to see Mads and Dustin breaking down all the different C# features. This is my mini recap of theirs, but I also wanted to show how to flip it on for older projects too. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, super appreciate it. Let me know what your favorite C# feature is down in the comments below. Until next time, thanks for watching.